Hi everybody and welcome back for 21-2. So today's special triangle we're going to talk about is the 30-60-90 triangle. So we're using the same note sheet from yesterday, just on the back side here. So make sure you have that note sheet again, a calculator if you need it, and your vocab sheet so you can write these down. Okay? So 30-60-90 is another special right triangle that follows a pattern. So again, if you know one side of one of these triangles, you're going to find the other one. And again, 30, 60, and 90 is referring to the angle measures inside those triangles. So you have your right angle of 90, a smaller angle 30, and your bigger angle of 60. Okay? So they're using different abbreviations here. LL is the long leg, SL is the short leg if you like using any of those formulas, those patterns over there. But usually I'm just going to look at how we label the three sides. So let's talk about the patterns here with these 30, 60, 90 triangles because it's different than the 45, 45, 90. Okay. So we always call the angle across from the 30 degrees, so the short side, okay, we call that our X side. And then the hypotenuse is always going to be 2x, so 2 times whatever the short side is. Now here's where that radical comes in. We have across from your 60-degree angle. Okay, so on your long leg, we use this relationship. So it's the short side times root 3, so x root 3. Okay, so that's the relationship we're going to use for all of our problems. So again, the short leg is x, the long leg is x root 3, and the hypotenuse is 2x. So let's look at these pictures here. So a couple of examples. So again, I'm going to label the picture, kind of how that relationship is labeled in there. So you can kind of, the x and y in this problem, don't get confused when I do this, but we have our 30-degree angle. So across from the 30, we would use, that's our x side. The hypotenuse is always the 2x side. And across from our 60-degree angle is our x root 3 side. Okay, so you can see already across from the 60 is 3 root 3. So the x value then we're talking about is the number that's the coefficient. Okay, so that in this problem is 3. So across from our 30-degree side, then that would have to be 3. So in this problem, y is 3. And remember our hypotenuse, in this problem it's the x. Okay, our hypotenuse is always double the short leg. So if this is 3 and that's x, 2 times 3 would give me 6. So that's how you can find the missing side lengths. Again, start with what you're given and see how you can figure out the other lengths using that relationship. Okay, let's do another one. Number 2, again, we have our 30, 60, 90. So this is my 30-degree angle. And again, I'm just going to kind of label the relationships. So across from the 30 is x. Across from our 60 is the x root 3. And our hypotenuse is always 2x. So for me, it's just easier to kind of write these in so I see kind of the relationship that I'm talking about. But if it doesn't help you, you don't have to do it this way. So they gave me the 60-degree angle and said that's 3. Now for this problem, in order to find the x value, so our short leg, I would have to take this side, 3, and I have to set it equal to x root 3. Okay, because that is the side length that it's supposed to be. Now we're going to solve for x. So we saw a similar problem like this on the previous video. But to solve for x, I would have to divide both sides by root 3 to get x by itself. Now, we talked about this in the previous video, but we can never leave a problem with a radical on the denominator. This is a problem where we're going to have to rationalize. So we multiply top and bottom by whatever the radical is in the denominator that's giving us a problem. In this case, it would be root 3. So this is going to give us 3 root 3 on top. Root 3 times root 3 becomes the square root of 9, which we know is 3 on the bottom. So if we notice here, one last thing, 3 divided by 3 will simplify. So x here is just root 3. Okay, so that was this side. Technically, I guess this is our y side, but here's x root 3. That's what this side length was. So I'm just going to label this what the picture is. The picture says it's y. Okay. So just so we know what that is. Okay. So then our hypotenuse, in the case they're calling it the x length, our hypotenuse is 2 times this. Okay. So in this problem, x would have to be 2 times root 3. Well, that's just going to be 2 root 3. That's all that is. We can't multiply whole numbers and radicals, so that just becomes kind of your coefficient. So our x in this problem is 2 root 3. So I hope the labeling didn't screw up too much. The only reason I changed this to a y equals is because that's how they labeled it in the picture. They labeled the hypotenuse as x. So there is that side. So again, sometimes we have to do a little extra algebra, but that's okay. All right, let's look at number 3. So we have our 30-degree angle. So this would be our 60-degree angle and our hypotenuse. So remember, across from the 30, let's keep it like y so I don't mess up the labeling a little bit. So across from my 60 would be y root 3. And my hypotenuse here would be 2y. So that's the relationship we know. So the hypotenuse is 2y. So across from my 30-degree angle would have to be half that. So they gave us the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is 8. So what does that make y then? Hopefully then you just said that y is 4. Because it's half of the hypotenuse. So this side has to be 4. Well, then that makes our x length here. If it's y root 3 and y is 4, it's just 4 root 3. And that one's done. So this one didn't actually take any algebra besides a little quick division in our heads. Okay, let's do one more and then we are done with these notes. So let's set it up here. We have our 30-degree side. So again, if I label this kind of like our pattern, this is our x side, our hypotenuse is 2x. And our across from our 60 would be our x root 3. Again, I'm just labeling that so I know my different relationships between the 3 sides. So let's start with what they gave us. They gave us the short side, and they said that that is 3 root 3. Okay, so to find our long side, and this problem would be n, I would have to take my x, so in this problem 3 root 3, and we multiply that by root 3. Because it's x root 3. So here's my x times root 3. So 3 root 3 times root 3. What do we get for that? Okay, we should get that. Root 3 times root 3 would be root 9, which equals 3 times 3. So n in this problem, 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, so we know this side is 9. Okay. Remember our hypotenuse, so in this problem it would be the m. Okay, is always 2 times our short side. So 2 times, my short leg was 3 root 3. So 2 times 3 root 3 then is just, well, 2 times 3 is 6. So 6 root 3. Okay, so you really have to remember your radical operations here. You can't multiply whole numbers and radicals. You can only multiply radicals times radicals. Okay, things like that. Okay, but because 2 and 3 were both whole numbers, that's why those multiply together. So again, just know your relationship between the 3 sides. Start with what you're given and see what you can find from that. Okay, so I'm just going to have you guys do these check your understanding problems from your book. So number 10 says in a 30, 60, 90 triangle, the length of the shorter leg is 6. So if the shorter leg is 6, what's the long leg? What's the hypotenuse? Okay, if you did it correctly, you should have got that the hypotenuse would be double, so it's 12. The shorter leg is x root 3. So if the shorter leg is, or longer leg would be x root 3, so 6 times root 3. Let's look at 11. In a 30, 60, 90 triangle, the length of the hypotenuse is 10. So what's the length of the shorter leg? What's the length of the longer leg? Okay, hypotenuse, you would cut that in half to get the shorter leg, so 5 makes the longer leg 5 root 3. So again, the important thing to remember on these problems and with the 45, 45, 90 triangle problems is just that relationship with the three sides. If you kind of either label your triangle with that relationship, and then you can kind of solve the problems from there, okay? Or you can use these pattern formulas too if they help you. But either way, you should be able to get the answer. Just remember, those relationships are going to help guide you through the problem.